How's it going? Then you've been out somewhere, obviously.
Good, yeah, just over ambitious day of life admin. Just had to go get a birthday present for someone on Sunday, so running around in this weather. But yeah, all
Fair enough,
good.
yeah. Well, it gave me time to check out your stuff a little bit because I'm alright in thinking you're in about five bands or something.
I think five is the current number. Yeah, five acts, I guess. Yeah, some like in a band capacity, some in like a kind of session role, and then others like a grey area in between the two. So keeping
Fair
busy.
enough. I suppose to maybe take it back a bit, like, would you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 35.
Ah, right, my age as well, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So that makes it quite easy to relate to. Um,
I
so yeah,
literally got
go on, yeah,
up
sorry.
early this morning to dig out said ticket stubs.
Excellent, okay.
So
What have we got
yeah,
then?
I mean, I've literally just put them out on the floor because I was like, this is the only way that I'm gonna try and make some sense of this whole meeting. But
Blimey. I remember those pink ones, those C-ticket ones, yeah.
there you go. I arranged them. I'm just an absolute nerd. I arranged them in chronological order. So you have some sort of timeline.
In which order? Date order or alphabetical?
Oh, date order.
Date
Yeah,
order, okay. So
yeah.
what's the
I'm not
first one on there?
not completely insane.
What's the first one?
So my first gig is Hot Hot Heat at the Electric Ballroom.
Ah, okay, but that was good. What year was that?
That was, I mean, I think the first couple of years of my gig going, I'm clearly underage. Um, this is 2003.
Right, okay, yeah, that is early doors, yeah.
It's even got the XFM, um, which is where I
Yes.
heard about the gig, which is like my gateway into indie music, if you like. Um,
Yeah, yeah. So did you
Manchester.
grow up in London then?
I did, yeah, live
Okay,
in
so I bet
London.
that was quite a good place to be for this music.
It was the best, honestly. Like I was looking through the tickets this morning, and like some of them, it's literally consecutive days. Like I would just like not bunk off, but maybe sometimes bunk off, and just get my older sister to come with me to these gigs, and I would like go in first because I'm taller than her, and then she would get stopped and ID'd because she's the short one, and then she'd be like, that would be a good way of like making sure that we both got into the gig. Um, that was our plan, but yeah, just like a good few years going to the Astoria, Mean Fiddler, Electric Ballroom, Kentish Town Forum. Um, yeah, loved
Yeah,
it.
excellent. So I think 2003, you've been about 15 then, if that's right.
13, I
Really?
think. Wait,
Um,
I'm not sure. Maybe 15?
yeah, I was 18 in
15,
2006.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15. Um, yeah, that's right. That makes more sense
Yes.
now. Um,
Are there any other standout names in the tickets?
I mean, I could literally just,
I'll be up
I
for your
made,
listing them if you want, yeah.
I also, I also, like, you asked me to pick a couple songs.
Yeah.
So this was very difficult. So I started with about 40 and I've like whittled it down to like 10. And it all
Okay.
relates to the gigs that I've been to as well.
Excellent.
Um, but yeah, so well, Hot Hot Heat was the first gig, like proper sort of gig that I went to, which was amazing. Like I think everyone in there was just yeah underage and just having a good time. Went with like a big group of school friends, and then in that same year, OK Go.
Oh, yeah. I just remember them because of that
Um,
video, but
well, this was before that.
okay.
So this was like, and this gig like blew my mind. I think Get Over It was their first single, or the first single that kind of hit radio, and yeah, I think everyone at school had like a crush on the lead singer. And yeah, we turned up and they were just like so professional. And then they did an encore and they did the dance routine. And we were just like, what the hell is this? Like, it was amazing. They're just so like well rehearsed. And yeah, like no one would expect that from like an indie band. And then I think they kind of disappeared off the face of the earth for maybe a couple years, and then they came back with the video with the treadmills.
Yeah.
And like I think all of my like school friends were kind of like, oh my god, do you remember that gig? Like that's what they did there. And it was yeah, it's pretty cool, really. Yeah, a little
Yes,
like
yeah.
preview of that.
Cool.
Um,
You've got like a segue to your first song then, in terms of
I
the
mean,
gig
the
you've been to?
segue is Hot Hot Heat. I mean, Bandages is the big one. That's what everyone um knows, and yeah, kind of I guess made them hit the mainstream. But I've picked No Not Now because I think that was the second single, and it's just super catchy, and his voice is just so, yeah, like there's nothing like it. It's so recognizable. Um, and half the time you can't understand what he's saying. I kind of just love that. It's just quite charming.
Okay, cool. Well, here's Hot Hot Heat with No Not Now. We won't actually play the songs now. This is me just recording it.
I figured.
It's always quite awkward doing that bit. Uh, so yeah. So what point did you kind of get into playing drums then?
I started teaching myself at school when I was like 13, 14. Um, I was very lucky to go to like a sort of school that had lots of arts funding at the time, Labour government, yeah. And yeah, there was 3 drum kits there. It's just like a big, like comprehensive state school, and I would just stay late and try and play along to my like Alicia Keys CDs, as that is what I was like into at the time. And then I remember 2 of my friends at school, both called Ellie, were like, "Oh, you should check out this band. They're called Nirvana. You might like them." So I was like, "All right, cool." Had a listen to Nevermind and was like, okay. Feel like this might be maybe a bit more relevant to what I want to play. And yeah, from that kind of just Alicia Keys turned into me trying to drum along to like Ruben and Biffy Clyro. And then we started hanging out with guys who were in the year above. And I remember being around like one of their houses and they had the Strokes, Is This It, with, the artwork. And I was like, whoa, what is that? And like bought it a few days later, and that kind of, yeah, something just like clicked in my mind. And yeah, that was kind of it really. And you know listen to XFM, that was just on constantly. There was also Radio X. I don't know if you remember that. It was like Virgin Radio's shameless ripoff of XFM. It was actually really good.
Well, is that the one that's
Um,
really they've pushed it now? That's really massive now, isn't it? Radio X. Is it kind of been brought back? Do you think?
I have no idea actually. But I think you could. It was only in certain places. I think you could maybe get it in London, maybe get it in Manchester.
Okay, right.
Um, and it was on like DAB, so it would like be me trying to like move my stereo around the house, just trying to get reception. Um, but yeah, they would just have like a rundown of who was playing, and yeah, we'd like get tickets where we could and just go along. And yeah, that just made me want to drum more, and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Well, why
then
why
from
drums in the first place out of interest? Is it
my
just
drums,
yeah?
I mean, it was one of those things that kind of just came very like naturally. very instinctually. Um, and then sort of looking back, it was almost like it was always there. Like I remember as a kid, I would used to um, like hit the cushions on the sofa with felted pens, and like the lids would fly off, so there was like felted pen on the cushions, and I, like get in trouble for that or whatever. And then we later found, like looking through old stuff, like a cassette, and it's got my sister like singing on it, and you can just hear my mum in the background asking me like, "Why aren't you singing?" And I'm like, "I don't want to sing. I just want to go bang shebang." And like we listened back to that, and it was like, there it is. That's the moment.
Yeah.
And then yeah, at school, like there's loads of guitarists. There wasn't that many drummers, and I think it was like year 9. We had a drum module in music, and just loved it. Just really got into it. There was 2 other female drummers in the year above as well who were incredible. Like they're proper professionals. Like one of them plays for like Simple Minds now, and yeah, just kind of was stubborn and kept at it, um, and studied it, and yeah, then literally I went to uni to do a music degree, after like absolutely loathing A level because it was all classical, and I answered a MySpace ad, for a lady drummer. I think I literally just replied saying, "I'm a lady drummer," with like a smiley face, and it was for an artist called Theoretical Girl, who I found on a CD compilation called Digital Penetration, which was, I had loads of sort of like electro indie bands, like had the Claxons on it, Sandy Wind, a few others, and yeah, like followed her on MySpace, replied to this ad, and like a couple of weeks later, I thought I was sort of going for like an audition, but it was just me, and yeah, I'd learned all the songs by memory, and yeah, like a few weeks later, played my first gig at the Scala, which was
Oh wow, yes.
pretty mad, really. I'm still walk past it and kind of think, wow, wild.
Yeah, yeah. So how old were you at that point? What year was it? Like 2010 or something?
That was 2007.
Oh, okay,
I,
right.
yeah, like, as soon as I turned 18, pretty much.
Right.
Um, and yeah, it was a night. Oh God, what was it called? But it had the Metric were headlining the main room,
Right.
and we were in like the upstairs bit, and Kate Nash was on the floor, no, after us.
Okay.
And I think like, it was just that kind of cusp of yeah, the whole kind of indie noughties explosion.
Yeah, I
And
think 2007 feels like the last strong year of it all kicking off kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And yeah, just a few, well, I think it was the winter, autumn of that year. She got asked to support Maximo Park, so played Brixton Academy as a teenager.
Wow.
And that was, yeah, just again kind of like, I'm a music fan first and foremost, so it's just sort of like, wow, I'm suddenly like sharing stages with all these bands I adore, and I've been like, yeah, sort of soundtracking my music. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, were you able to like take that in your stride, or was it just a bit nerve-wracking?
I mean, I always get nervous. Uh, I'm like a sort of a starstruck fan first and foremost, but yeah, you want to keep it together and play a good show. So once I'm up there and was playing, I'm kind of in the zone. But yeah, always just in awe of, playing live music and the sort of bands I've been able to support and stuff like that.
Yes. All right. Well, let's go to your second song then. What segue
Second
can you
song.
get for us?
I'm gonna have to check this. I think, what have we got? So again, going back to the gig, I've gone for Positive Tension, Block Party. Saw them at the Astoria. Silent Alarm had just come out, and again, this is just one of those songs that kind of just it's kind of haunting, and that whole gig was, you really felt like you kind of knew that they were about to absolutely just take over the scene at the time.
Yeah. No,
And
but
that,
it's one of those albums that's aged really well, I think.
and in terms of like drumming as well, Matt Tong is someone who I've always like referenced. Just that whole kind of machine drumming style was really like had such a big influence on me. I saw him in like IKEA Wembley one time, and was just like, I was too nervous to go up and say anything, but I was like, cool guy.
All right, cool. Well, this is Block Party with Positive Tension. Okay, so from that point on, then were you just like in bands constantly from that point then?
Pretty much, every maybe like kind of 2 years from then, it seemed to kind of be the natural cycle of a band that could do something, but then like something happens and it doesn't. But I've been in bands since then. Kind of reached like a certain level, do a couple like full supports for bands, and then it's a tricky thing to maintain, and not everyone kind of keeps at it. So it's comforting though. A lot of the time, it's you see the same people in a different band, because it's the same people who are just like have that kind of resilience, and that's all they want to do.
Yeah. So how would it work? Is it just terms of like you just meet more people and then more opportunities would kind of arise? You'd be on people's radars, so to speak.
I guess so. I think I've just been very lucky in that. For me, it's mostly been like word of mouth, really. The people just go to gigs. Like, if you love playing music, watch other people play music, and you put yourself in those environments. And I don't really have like the formula for it, but just keep going. If that's what is, if that's your passion and that's what you want to do in life, then you kind of eventually gravitate towards people who want to do the same thing, and just keep at it, really.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the thing on the podcast is that the idea that it's become harder to be in a band since like the 2000s. Like, would you agree with that or not really?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think a lot of people always like kind of bad mouthing like indie sleaze, indie landfill and stuff. And I guess like the term itself like comes from the fact that like with the dawn of like MySpace and the internet and stuff, just people had access to everything, and therefore you were aware of more bands, and that created more competition, and for that reason I guess there was, or it felt like there was more bands trying to do the same thing, and fighting for that spot, or that NME cover or whatever it was at the time. And yeah, I guess it's just become like more or a different type of industry. And yeah, the approach to it is very different now. You know, not you're less likely to be spotted by someone at a gig playing. It's more kind of who you know and how masterful and stuff you are.
Yeah, I mean, you hear stuff like bands get spotted on like TikTok these days rather than anything else.
Yeah, I mean that's literally when people sort of try and give you advice to further your music career. They're literally like, "Have you heard of TikTok?" And you know, it's now like two groups of musicians and bands. Those are on TikTok and those are not.
Which do you fall into mainly?
I am resisting so far. But yeah, some of the artists I play for are on TikTok. But for me, I mean, I'm a drummer. I'm not like a solo artist or a singer and stuff. So if I wanted to be constantly making videos and content and stuff and I thought someone would actually be interested in seeing that, then maybe I would. But I kind of, for me, like playing live and recording and stuff like that is more my bag. So
Yeah. That's quite a good position to be in, and you don't have to worry about all that.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, never say never. But at the minute, like I'm getting to kind of, I don't feel like the crushing pressure to be on TikTok, and I see it through Instagram most of the time anyway.
Yeah.
So it's anything I can do to like limit my screen time, I will try.
Yeah, it gets a bit wild, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think again, for me, maybe bar this conversation, this interaction, a lot of the time, like you're more likely to make connections with people if you're in the same room as them, not if you're like on your phone and stuff. People feel like there's such a pressure now in terms of like you're rated by how many followers you have and your online presence rather than um actually playing a really great gig that someone will talk about and remember forever. So for me, yes, the kind of connections that I have are still always like I've been in the same room as this person. I went and spoke to this person. I saw this gig, and and then you follow yourself, and then you follow each other on Instagram and what have you. But yeah, it's. I feel like just real time connection and stuff with music is still the best way forward.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go to the next song. What have you got up your
Right,
sleeve?
what we got? So the Cribs.
Right.
This is probably the most. I try to be like a bit more obscure with my choices, but the Cribs are just one of those bands that I have such an affection for. I had one of those Jarman coat of arms t-shirts, and so when I went to uni up north, it was like a sort of a way for people to accept me as a southerner. And yeah, I saw them at Mean Fiddler, and it was an amazing gig. It was the Cribs, and then before that, the Chalets, also a really underrated band from Dublin. They were brilliant, and Help She Can't Swim as well were opening for that. So it was kind of that time where it was like acceptable for bands to sing in their accents, and just like the kind of like chaos of the Cribs just really kind of appealed to me. And so yeah, I was really struggling. I didn't want to pick Hey Seamster, so I've gone for Mirror Kisses, which I think is probably one of the first songs that actually referenced the word hipster at that time as well. So yeah, I've gone for Mirror Kisses.
Okay, nice one. I don't have to do an introduction for that one
So
then. So what uni did you go to then?
I went to York St John,
Okay, right.
but it was actually at the time accredited by University of Leeds. And yeah, I was at that time, so I was playing in a band in London, but studying up north and kind of really getting into that scene. And one of the kind of reasons, or one of the things that have maybe made that choice easier to like move away from home was just the whole South Yorkshire, West Yorkshire scene, like the Arctic Monkeys, obviously, like the big one. Um, and yeah, just loads of fans from around there at the time, which I thought were great. Who else? Forward Russia, another big one. God, the Cribs, obviously. And yeah, so it was kind of it was quite nice being like between the two worlds. I think a lot of my kind of favorite bands at that time were either from Yorkshire or from the south, from London. And yeah, it was nice to kind of just like, it was quite a contrast of music scenes, I guess. Like London is always just the place to be, and it's very kind of industry um driven, I guess. And um like Leeds, York, small York is like tiny, such a nice like small town vibe.
Hmm.
um and yeah, I don't know, it's just a very like it's a way more like DIY scene up there, and it was really nice to sort of have the two side by side at that point.
Yeah. What's the main venue in York? Is it Fibbers?
It used to be Fibbers, that closed down a while
Okay.
ago. But yeah, Fibbers was like the big one. That was like the barfly. Um, and then there was a venue called the Duchess, which opened literally upstairs from it. And those were the two kind of big music venues. Um,
Okay.
at that time, I saw loads of bands there. Again, looking over at my ticket stubs. And yeah, I saw who was like quite a big one. Um, oh, Fold. I saw Fold at Fibbers,
Okay.
and the Maccabees were supporting. Um, and yeah, again, like hugely influential. I remember seeing, it's actually one of my songs that I picked. I remember seeing Foles play on Jules Holland, um, and they played this song, Red Sox Beauty. If I'm saying that right. And yeah, just again, like it's just incredible. I just remember watching that so vividly and being like, wow, I need to like incorporate, I need to steal these drum beats and make something with them, because yeah, it was that kind of like math type rock pop um theme coming through as well. A lot of bands like, you know, playing their guitars up here rather than or and trying to sound like something digital.
Hmm.
And yeah, that again just kind of stood out, and it was nice to see them in like a smaller venue as well, because you kind of knew that they were about to be huge.
Yeah. So what song was it? Sorry again.
It's Red Sox PG, which is their first album.
All right, so here's Falls with I can't hear exactly what the title is. Red Sox.
Red Sox Fuji, like the Red Sox, a baseball team.
Boogie.
Pugie, Pugie.
Red Sox Pugie.
Pugie. I think it's Pugie.
Right.
I don't know.
It's gonna take some editing.
I can pick a different song.
No, it's all right. So this is Falls with Red Sox Pugie. Okay, let's be listening to some of your songs then. So let's talk about that because I was enjoying one by Findlay. Is it?
Yeah.
Waste My Time. I was enjoying that.
So Finley, Natalie, she is just like one of the most talented people I've ever met. I started drumming for her just over a year and a half ago. But I've always seen the name around, and it was I had like a kind of strange full circle moment the other day where I found a mix CD that like an ex had made me, and her song Off and On was on that, and I was kind of like, but yeah, she's just like an incredible artist, and just met through friends, and did a tour around Europe last October, I think it was, and just had the best time. And that was the first time sort of leaving the country again and playing like live music properly post COVID. So yeah, that was great. And just they're all lovely people. So,
yeah. So what's it like? What's like touring life like now compared to? Because if you think of a touring band in 2007, you think it's a bit mental, I suppose. Is there a big difference now?
I think it depends on what kind of band you're in, to be honest. Like definitely had some sort of hairy situations touring, but now you're just kind of you want your creature comforts and stuff, so it's not as I guess wild as say like the Libertines touring in 2005. But yeah, uh, it's something that I really enjoy. I'm like probably the least rock and roll person for me. Like I'm just very organized, and uh, yeah, try and like for me it's like the priority is to like play a really good show and have a proper sound check and stuff like that. So like I'll try and limit what I can in terms of like going crazy and stuff. But that said, I did play a show in Brussels not that long ago, sorely hungover. But I still managed to play a good show. So yeah, occasionally you just have to like blow off some steam and stuff.
Yeah. All right, well, let's play that song now then. So this is Findlay with Waste My Time. If I can find it, I might need to get you to send me it. Yeah, I was enjoying a couple of the other bands like The Assassin. I was enjoying that.
Yeah.
And Truces, Another Day. I was enjoying that. So like how do you manage being in all these bands then? What goes on?
I have a physical diary. So as soon as something gets like confirmed or like I just need to stay organized and like keep track of it. Kind of just generally like organizing 4 people to be in the same place at the same time, rehearse enough, feel confident enough. It takes logistics, but yeah, it's I've always had like day jobs and stuff as well to kind of work around, and you just make it. Yeah, if that's what you want to do, you just make it work really, um, and be a quick learner as well. Um, make sure like you just kind of mentally prepare for it as much as you can, as well as like get your kit sorted and give everything a bit of an MOT, and make sure you kind of yeah know where you need to be and stuff.
Yeah, because like what you get some pretty short deadlines sometimes, like, oh, can you do this tomorrow? And you need to learn multiple songs kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's normally not normally, but a lot of the time I've like been in that situation. Like I am that like the emergency drummer when someone else's drummer has gone AWOL. Like most of the time, yeah, I've sort of joined bands at a point where yeah, like they've got like a tour book or they've got something coming up and they're kind of like, ooh, so but yeah, just like just you just kind of get on with it really, like um make sure that you've done everything that you can to learn it, and kind of yeah, just like keep a cool head about it. I think the most I think a good like example of that was the last shows I played before lockdowns and stuff was um supporting the Libertines, and it was at their Manchester and Birmingham shows, and I was drumming for a guy, a good friend called Dan Lyons, and yeah, it was
What year was
having to
this?
like
Sorry.
this was 2019,
Okay, right.
um, and this yeah, it was like again just super last minute, and I think the rest of the members were kind of here, there, and everywhere. Either they were like away or in a different town and stuff. And yeah, just trying to find like somewhere to practice was really difficult, and a day that everyone could turn up was really tricky. So I think I had like maybe two rehearsals. I didn't actually meet the bassist until like the show. Like we it was quite a hectic day as well. I think something had gone wrong, and so like sound check was like running like hours behind, and so we didn't get one. We just got like a line check, and I literally it was just sort of like, right, here we go. And I think it was Victoria Warehouse, which is just this like cavernous um place, and it was just yeah like thousands of like screaming Libertine fans, and it was just sort of like, right, okay, I kind of think I know what I need to play, and yeah, just sort of get in the zone and go for it, and luckily it all went okay.
Yeah, excellent. And you obviously, like you mentioned, supporting like the Libertines and stuff and playing these big venues. You must have met a lot of big names over the years or possible heroes. Do you have any like memorable kind of episodes of meeting people?
Yeah, I mean, so with my kind of like own main band, Yasatin, we were lucky enough to be the tour support for Albert Hammond Jr.'s
Oh
um,
wow, yes.
tour in 2018, I think it was. And like the Strokes are pretty much like my favorite band. Um, and yeah, hugely influential. So that was again like I think I like ran out of my where I was working at the time, and like immediately phoned my dad and was just like screaming down the phone to him like, oh.
So you were the tour support, you did a full tour.
Yeah, we did the UK tour and Paris
Wow, that's
as
amazing.
well.
Did you
And
play did you play in Camden by any chance on that tour?
yes, Electric Ballroom.
I've got, I've got a feeling. Was it really bad weather? It was like really snowy.
Probably.
Because I bottled it. I had a ticket and I bottled the gig.
You missed a really good show.
And next, I was thinking, I bet loads of people, well, not loads, but I bet like be quite intimate because I reckon a few people might have not gone because of the weather. I should have gone.
Um, yeah, I can't remember what the weather was like that day, but yeah, I was obviously just like,
Mate, you wouldn't
yeah,
do it, to be fair. Yeah.
I was just being super nervous in the dressing room, probably, and yeah, that that whole tour was amazing. I remember the first show was at the Brood now in Leeds
Ah,
again,
yeah.
like love that venue so much, seeing so many amazing bands there, and yeah, the people that run it and work there are just great, and yeah, we were just kind of setting up and stuff, and I think I had just like I just dried my hands, but they were still, or the hand dryer wasn't working, and so I had wet hands, and he had just come out of the loo and also had wet hands, and then he was like,
What Albert Hammond is
um,
this?
yeah,
Right.
exactly, and he was sort of like, oh hey, I'm Ella, and I was like, oh, and then he like looked at his hands and he went, oh, sorry, because we were both like there, and I went, oh, me too, and he was like, wait, you're Albert too, and I was like, and I just got really embarrassed, and like he was like, oh, I'm just kidding, and like gave me a hug and stuff, and then I think like the rest of my band just walked in at that moment, just seeing me like just being this like just wanting like the ground to swallow me or whatever, just yeah, me like saying something silly. And yeah, like people will say, don't meet your idols, like ignore those people. Just yeah, it was really nice. That whole tour, his whole band as well, just lovely people. Some of them like came to like a house party with us as well. In London, like afterwards, just really down to earth, really professional, amazing musicians. And yeah, that was really like it kind of wow. That
That's it.
whole
Yeah. All right then. Well, just conscious of the time, really. But is there songs you want to play to finish on?
I've got a whole list, and I
Well,
have so many good
we can have a
like
few
this
more.
is why I like this song. This is why I will play this song. Um, but yeah, for me, I think it's got to be the Strokes, "Heart in a Cage," because yeah, again, like I remember queuing up. I bunked off school, queued up with my crush at the time to try and get tickets for their Yulu show.
Ah, yeah.
And I think we started queuing at like 5 a.m. or something crazy,
Wow.
thinking like, oh, no one else has thought of this. Got there, like the queue was huge, like it was snaking around the whole of like Russell Square, and sadly didn't neither of us got tickets, so it was just like hours of me just awkwardly stood there.
I was gonna say, how long did you find out? How long did you have to wait before you found out you were getting one?
um I think maybe they told us at like 10 a.m. or
Bloody
something,
hell.
like hours. And but they were the people there were really lovely and just like took names, and they were like, well, the next time the Strokes play, you'll get first dibs kind of
Oh,
thing.
really?
So we were like, sure, yeah, like that's not going to happen. And then
Well,
got an
yeah.
email
Oh,
for the
sorry.
next tour and got tickets. So saw them at Shepherd's Bush Empire, which I mean, I think it was,
Is that the 2006 tour? Yeah.
it must have been, yeah. So like first appearance of Earth had come out, and so I went with my crush, and the gig was so good, and he didn't want to stand at the front, and I was like, so I went to the front, and then they played Heart in a Cage, and the lyrics are, I went to the concert and I fought through the crowd, and that's exactly what I did. And I just sort of had this like euphoric moment of being like, music's better than boys, and yeah, like had made friends with like the people who would sit around me, and just absolutely lost my mind at the gig. So
Yes.
there you go.
All right, well, this is the Strokes, Heart in a Cage. Yeah, I was gonna say at least there was a gig because like a few years ago there was like a bit of a Strokes hoax. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah, with a different name. It was like venison or something.
Yeah, so like in 2010, they actually did do that. They played a secret gig as Venison, but then it was to 2018. It got announced again that they were doing it. So I
Yeah,
went
I
down there
remember
like
that.
I got there like 4 or 5 in the morning, and yeah, it turned out to be a hoax from one of like some disgruntled staff that got sacked.
Oh no. So it was like someone who worked there who had.
Yeah, I think they've been sacked, but they still had access to the social media accounts.
Oh no.
So they played
Oh
like
God.
just so did that to wind everyone up, and then yeah.
That's a pretty cool way to go. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're already like not happy in your job, like that,
Yeah.
I feel like that person probably works for some sort of like music um like website now.
Probably started a YouTube channel first, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I feel like that is sort of like catapulted them to like niche underground indie god status. I hope in that. But yeah, coming up with that.
Okay, cool. So, I guess the best place for people to follow your stuff is on Instagram, is it?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Uh, Steph Drumism on
That's
Instagram, yeah.
it. Yeah. For anyone who cares. Um, yeah, it's just an indie fan, drumming, pretty much, going to gigs.
So, what's like your next tour or whatever? What's the next thing on the roster?
Got a couple more gigs with Truces, to see the year out. I'm also playing a debut show in Margate with one of my the Assassin bandmates solo project with Roleplay. That's next weekend. Um, and then yeah, uh, some TBC stuff next year. Um, so hopefully that all comes through. And
Yeah.
yeah, just confirmed a big show in Manchester with Truces, and that's Blossoms. I'll putting that on, and I think there's a few other indie
Oh, I think I
bands.
saw that. Is that because I live in Manchester? You said that's in Wythenshawe Park.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to live
Um,
quite close to there.
oh, cool. Yeah, that'll be fun. I absolutely love Manchester, and I've got friends from like Stockport and Athelsford and that. So, yeah,
Oh yeah,
that'll be a good one.
yes. Do you want to finish on one of their songs then, Truces?
Yeah. Oh, which one to play? I'm trying to think of like what is the most like relevant to this podcast of all the songs. Let me have a look.
All right, yeah, no worries.
I think maybe the disco, just in honor of indie discos everywhere.
Okay, brilliant. So this is Chooses with Disco. All right, nice one. Cheers for that,
It's,
Steph.
it's the disco, is that
Oh,
band?
all right. This is Chooses with the Disco. Okay, nice one.
I didn't want it to be a the Foles situation.
Yeah, I don't want people calling me out, do I?